We had a great day today. Oh, you may be thinking, why are you here today at 7 p.m. Victoria? Like, paint this picture in your brain.
Four feet on the stripes in the Alabama highway. Out there in the open, just a wishing and a hoping. I could smell the pines when I let you in the doorway. Took the seat next to mine like you've been there before. I'm befriended.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. If you are new here, my name is Victoria, and I'm a 7th year third grade teacher in Maine, and I'm a mom to an 18, almost 19-month-old baby boy. And this week we are going to do a little week in my life because I feel like it, and because I think it's going to be a good week. It's supposed to be a week full of good weather. It's Teacher Appreciation Week. It's just like a lot of good stuff coming. We have some busy days this week because we have like a spring concert and such, but I think it'll be fun. So I'm picking you all up right now when it is our students' recess time. I have this duty off today because one of my coworkers is out and she had the sub take the lunch duty, which I normally don't have, so it's like a blessing. So I'm just going to fill you in on what we've done today, and then I am going to get to like correcting some stuff. So far we have read Because of Winn-Dixie, and then we talked about plot, and just right now we're at the climax of the story, so we talked about how we know it's the climax, and talking about how it's a point of high tension, it's building up over time, that it's like a really big deal, and that it's also the turning point because right now her and her father just had like a huge conversation where they opened up their hearts, which they're not normally used to doing. So that was a really good conversation. And then after that, I honestly just had them, we talked a lot about it, and I was going to have them do a job, but since we talked about it so much, I just had them read to self. So we did that. I also, before that, did a little bit of a lesson with the short film Day and Night, the Pixar short film. And we just talked about who the characters were and just kind of went through the plot really quickly. And that went well. So if you want to introduce plot in a way that's like different from a book, that's also a fun way to do it. So then we had like snack, and we went outside for snack, which was beautiful. And then specials, and then go time today, we just talked about simple, complex, and compound sentences, and then they were working in pairs or groups of 3 to write those 3 different types of sentences. And then we worked on this field journal for science, which they're having a lot of fun with this. Basically, it's a mystery science lesson where they're watching animals do things, and they're like field observers. They're basically like acting like they're out in the safari and they're observing what the animals do, and they're jotting down what they notice about the animals. So it's been really fun. And then the rest of the day, right now, like I said, they've had lunch and they're at recess, so the rest of the day they'll come back, we'll have quiet time, and then after we do quiet time, we'll have math where we're going to talk about fractions, and we're just going to use these to understand like where a fraction falls on a number line. And then we are going to also fill out this little paper where they're thinking about the unit fraction 1/4 and the unit fraction 1/2. And then if they finish that early, I have this little fractions secret code. And then in writing, they will continue writing their piece, and if they are ready, they will peer edit. And we'll talk about what it looks like to peer edit and kind of model that and give them some talking stems. So that is the plan. I will pick you all up later and kind of debrief you on how math and writing go. But so far, reading has gone great. I just love a good read aloud, and I feel like I'm just like such a good actress sometimes. I'm like very proud of my teaching sometimes when I do a good read aloud. And then science has just been super interesting. So I've been loving today so far, and hopefully it continues. There you go. That's the little debrief, and I will fill you in more later. Random thought while I'm correcting. I had someone comment and ask about knowing what I grade and what I don't, like what I choose to grade and what I don't grade. And basically anything that I use is just practice. I don't grade, and I just kind of correct and give back to the families so they can kind of see how their kids are doing. And then things that I view more as assessments are what I grade. So usually I do check-ins, like this is all stuff I do with my team, but we do check-ins and we do pre-assessments and post-assessments and stuff like that, and those are the things that we really use as grades. Aside from that, we don't really grade any of like the word study work or work that they're doing throughout math, because it's really just used as practice, not as like something to show mastery in. So that's the general thought on how I kind of decide what I'm going to grade and what I'm not going to grade. But I would definitely just say talk to your team about it if you're not sure, if you have a team, and I'm sure that they would be happy to like talk to you about what they choose to do. Yeah, just wanted to share that. So like right now I'm just putting stickers on their word study practice because I'm not going to use this as a grade. It was just for them to practice their word study words for the week. So there you go.
At the end of my bed, in the palm tree lightning, it was nothing you did, I just felt my low lightning. Now we talk all the time, it's a little one-sided, always one step.
Hey everyone, welcome to my backyard. I am about to go for a little walk/run. I haven't done this since I hurt my foot like a month ago, so this is going to be like a little bit of a trial period to see how this goes, but I'm optimistic, cautiously optimistic, so we'll see. But the end of the day, so math went really well. The kids seem to be grasping fractions. It's still a little vague to them, the concept of fractions on a number line. Like they're understanding fractions, but then placing them on a number line is a little bit trickier, but they're getting it. And then in writing, basically my students are all in different places, so I just kind of reviewed the writing process with them, and I talked about how some of us are in the writing stage, some of us are in the revising stage, and some of us are in the editing stage. And then the kids that were in the editing stage, I pulled to my back table and I talked to them about, I gave them an editing checklist and I kind of did a brief lesson on how to peer edit, and then I paired them up, and I only had 4 kids and I had them peer edit their pieces. So yeah, after that I met with my team at the end of the day and we just kind of planned reading for next week. And next week's gonna be a weird week because we have state testing. If you have already state tested, let me know what state you're in, and like I'm just curious, like how many of you have already done your state testing, and if you have, what state are you from? So let me know, comment down below. But we have state testing next week. We have it Tuesday and Thursday, so it's kind of a weird week because we don't want to like just completely destroy these kids. So you have to like think of easier things to do in the afternoon so that they're not, because they're going to have worked so hard all day. Planning has been a little trickier just considering those things. And then we're also in the midst of F&P testing, which I'm curious if we'll do F&P testing next year with getting a new curriculum and getting into more structured literacy stuff. It will be interesting to see. So there you go. That's what we've done. And then since then, I've just kind of come home, hung out with my baby and my husband, had dinner, played, all this stuff. Let's go for a run. And then I will pick you all up tomorrow morning. And I am looking forward to a good day. The good thing about tomorrow is I already have my plans ready to go, slides made, so once I get to school it should be pretty smooth sailing. Oh, another thing that I did do today is that I finished grading like all of those, or correcting I should say. I finished correcting all of those random papers that your kids do throughout the day that I had kind of fallen behind on. At the beginning of the school year, I made a goal for myself to grade and correct at the end of the day for 15 to 20 minutes, and I did okay with it, and I've kind of fallen off my bandwagon there. So someone commented and was like, hey, how do you go about grading? That's what my plan had been, but lately I've just been kind of plugging it in where I can. But I liked my beginning of the year plan. So my beginning of the year plan was to email at the beginning of the day and then send emails to families and stuff, and we'll get plans situated at the beginning of the day. And then at the end of the day, kind of grade and correct and all of that stuff. I'm hoping to get back into that, but I'm all caught up and corrected now and everything graded. That feels good. So there you have it. It was a good day. Good day in school, good day at home. My baby is going through a bit of a clingy stage right now. I think it's because he's getting teeth at the top of his mouth. So, poor guy. Okay, let's go and test out this walk/run, and then I will see you all tomorrow, and we will have a great Tuesday. Bye, everyone.
And I'm running behind you. I'm befriended in an illusion. I could never stand to lose you. I get by when you're at my side. I'm befriended in an illusion.
Hello everyone, happy Tuesday. So today I had a great morning. My husband dropped my baby off at daycare again, so I got to get some stuff done this morning. I had to write an email that is one of those I don't really know how to word this email, so it took me a little while, but I got that done. Plans were ready for the day and all that stuff. This morning, what we did is we had word study day. So basically what I did was we first just read aloud a picture book. It was called Cinnamon, and we reviewed plot structure, and we just talked about, what was the exposition, what was the rising action, what was the climax, what was the falling action, what was the resolution. Then we moved on and we did a quick lesson on today's a word study day, so what are their expectations. And then when I was pulling groups, they were working on making a mistake tree bottle. They just wrote their mistake and then kind of decorated it, and then they read to self after that. While they were doing that, I was pulling groups, and as I was pulling groups, basically I was just, if you have Words Their Way, they have these teaching pages, and these are super helpful. So I would just use the teaching page, and I kind of just reviewed the generalization. So long E can be spelled two ways using the CVVC pattern, EE and EA. We talk about it, and then we would sort it together just on paper. And then during go time, they did the actual sort in their word study notebooks. Okay, so I kind of skipped ahead to go time. So then in go time, they did that, and then if they finished, they working on typing their opinion writing letter. And if they finished that, then they could either choice write or choice read. And then during science, we finished these little field journals, and they really liked this mystery science lesson. And we kind of just did this last page where they noticed what animals do when they live in groups and why animals live in groups, and we talked about it. And then at the very end of the lesson, I don't know if you have mystery science, but if you do, they have activities at the end for if you have extra time. And for this particular lesson, they had
it taught about how bees do a waggle dance to kind of signify if they have food where in this portion of their honeycomb thing. So then we watched the bees honey dance or waggle dance, and then they all did their own little waggle dance, and it was cute. Now they are off to recess and lunch. It's currently their recess, and I just didn't have recess duty today. And what we're going to do next is we're going to teach a lesson on equivalent fractions, and we're going to kind of explore equivalent fractions, and they're just going to kind of jot down what they explore and find on this paper. And as they do that, they will use their fraction strips that we created from just colored pieces of paper and directions on how to make them. And then in writing, they are going to work on writing introductions today. So everyone will work on writing an introduction. If they finished, depending on where they are, they'll either continue to write, revise, edit, so on. So that is the game plan for the rest of the day, but the morning has been great. We've gotten a lot done, feeling good. Yeah, just wanted to pick you up and fill you in, but I'm gonna finish eating my bacon turkey Bravo from Panera because it's Teachers Appreciation Week, and a very nice local community member donated some food. So I'm gonna finish enjoying that, plug away at plans and stuff for next week. I think we're all planned. That's what we did during our plan time today is we kind of planned out what we're gonna do for next week, and we should be all set. So now I know I'm making Monday slides, so I'm gonna start working on Monday slides and start printing for Monday too. There you go. That's what's happening. So let's go and finish the sandwich and get to work. All right, everyone. So it is the end of the day. It is almost 4:10. So that means I need to go so I can go get my baby from daycare. I should say toddler. He's like 19-month-old today, but I'm just not prepared for that. So anyways, we had a great day today. It was one of those days that you're like, oh my gosh, I just love teaching. I did have several kids out today, which was interesting, but it was still really great. So one thing that we did today, I want to show you that I loved is I got these like little magnets for fractions, and I actually took them out today. So they're these little things, and we used these when we were talking about equivalent fractions, and they were game changers. At first, they were not understanding what was equivalent and the concept as a whole, and we were even using fraction strips, and it was still like really tricky for them. But once I showed them this, and then we talked about it, and I kind of gave them a chance to explore with them in partners, it clicked and they loved it. And we even started talking about like simplifying fractions and multiplying fractions to get equivalent fractions, which is not what the plan was for today. The plan today was really just to talk about how equivalent means that it takes up the same amount of space. But they just went above and beyond. And then in writing, we moved on to just typing out introductions, and it was just a really good day. I felt like today I could be silly and have fun with them, and I also got like pictures, and I got to send the pictures of them working to their families. And I thought of Miss Katie in elementary. I like talk about her in every video, so thank you. She commented on one of my videos, and she was like, hey, one thing that I do for parent communication is I just like take a picture, and I just don't even really worry about a whole email, and I just kind of put a subject and send the picture in the email when I'm thinking of it. And I loved that. So I did that today. I didn't worry about a fancy email. I just took a picture of them when they were working on fractions, and I sent it with the subject of blank is rocking fractions. And it was great. And I feel good that I did that today. So I'm going to try and do that more for the rest of the year because it feels good and it was pretty easy to do. It took me a total of maybe 10 minutes. So thank you, Katie, for that. You are the best. And if you are looking for some parent communication tips, that is a great thing that was super easy to do. So that is the day. I now need to go get my baby from daycare, and then I need to figure out what we're going to do about dinner because we need to get groceries or something. So I guess we'll figure it out. Let's go and get my baby. Hello everyone, happy Wednesday. I'm just picking you up at the end of the day after a staff meeting and all that stuff. We today talked about, diversity and how we can approach those hard conversations. It was a really great conversation to have as a staff. I'm glad we had it. And our day was really good. We had 2 specials, and in our in between time, we kind of reviewed just the Maine State test and what they're doing, we did the practice test. I showed them the tools, showed them how we can approach questions and so on. And then, because we're preparing for next week. And then we started the science lesson on animals in space. In math, we talked more about equivalent fractions and just identifying how we know things are equivalent. And then in writing, we worked on conclusions. So that's what we did today. It was a really good day. I did have a few bumpy moments, I'm not gonna lie, but those were more not classroom based. So yeah, good days. The weather's been beautiful. It is Teacher Appreciation Week. It is my birthday weekend. It is Mother's Day weekend. This is a treat yourself week. I also had coffee for the 3rd time this week, which again, I'm just gonna call it my birthday week, and we're gonna be okay with it. We're gonna let it slide. Next week I will not do that. So, nothing fancy today, but I will pick you all up tomorrow on Thursday and fill you in on the day and try and give you some more detailed stuff and information. But so far, good day. Oh, and just a cute story. My students wanted to listen to the BK Have It Your Way song at the end of the day, and then I had a student full out just to bust out some twerk moves, which was just absolutely hilarious. But there you go. There's some sunshine for your Wednesday. I'm going to go home. Actually, I'm going to go pick up my groceries from Hannaford to go. Then I'm going to go home, and then I will see you all later. See you Thursday.
Side of the friended in an illusion.
Can you bounce the ball, Hugo? Good job. All right, everyone. Hello. So today is Thursday, and it is actually 7 p.m. Now, you may be thinking, why are you here today at 7 p.m., Victoria? Well, the answer is I had a music concert for my, we have grade level concerts and / art shows. So we had a little concert, and the parents got to look at their art as well, and that was absolutely adorable. It's so sweet seeing them get back to this. It does kind of stink that I had to be here at 6 to 7 and not be able to put my baby down to sleep, but it's also really, really sweet, and these moments are so special as parents, and I'm glad that we're starting to do these things again. So all really big pluses. I didn't pick you up today because it has been a busy day. I got so I decided to drop my baby off at school today. So with that, I didn't get Duncan, go me, but I did forget that I needed gas, of course. So I realized that on my way, once I got to daycare. So I had to backtrack a bit to actually get gas. And anyways, long story short, I got here a little later than I would have liked to. So once I got here, I had to get right to getting things ready for the day and kind of putting our morning message up on the screen and getting everything situated. And then at the end of the day, I wanted to leave as soon as I could so I could get some more time with my family since I had to leave and couldn't put him down to bed. So now you have me at 7 p.m. and it's great. So let's talk about today. Today was a good day. I did have some moments of tricky stuff, I guess, with some students, but nothing terrible, just a few things that bubbled up that I needed to deal with, but that happens. But all in all, really great day. And let's see, in reading, we finished Winn-Dixie. So sad, but so exciting. They were super disappointed. This always happens. They always think that Opal's mom is going to come back and Opal's going to find her mom, and she doesn't. And I think that is kind of a good lesson that stories don't always end in like this super happy way. Like there were other happy things, but also like some problems are just always like kind of left not super resolved. So it was a good conversation. And then, so after we finished reading, we did a lesson on noticing how characters react to their problems. And then we did, a word study. We did graph a word. They did a little jot thinking about how Opal changed from the beginning of the story to the end of the story and how they knew. And then they read to self. Then we had concert practice today during our specialist time, so I did not get a prep today, which was a bummer, but it's okay. Like, this doesn't happen often, so it's all right if it's like for a good cause, which it was. And then in, go time, we reviewed the types of sentences, and then they did an assessment on simple, complex, and compound sentences. And then in science, they did the animals and people in space and how being in space would affect your traits. And so they started to do this. Basically, we just got to the arm strength today. So they thought through if they did push-ups, and then they did wall push-ups, and they kind of compared the difference between how they felt, and they realized wall push-ups felt a lot easier, and they were able to get more in. And then that kind of made them realize, because wall push-ups are more similar to what push-ups would feel like in space. So they realized that it would be more likely that your arms would become weaker in space because you wouldn't have as much gravity kind of pulling you down and causing you to work hard. So that's what we did in science today. So tomorrow we'll do balance and height. And then we had lunch, recess, quiet time. During quiet time, basically all we ever do during quiet time is like they come in, they're able to read, write, draw, and I do let them like quietly chat as long as they're like being respectful and at a whisper level. Then math. Today in math we talked more about equivalent fractions, and they worked more with, they had a swimming race and they had to break apart these like rectangles and show where like what each fraction of the pool each person swam. And then they did the same thing on the back. And then they thought through, what do you notice about the practice distances and who's winning so far? The only thing that I did not like about this is that when they draw it, rather than using it and looking at it in a like model, it's always kind of up for interpretation because they can definitely not be like as accurate with the spacing. So for example, there was 3/4 and 6/8, which are equivalent fractions, but a lot of kids were not able to like get those lined up perfectly. So they were not able to notice that. So it just kind of felt like, I don't know, let me know how you help with things like that when they're drawing equivalent fractions, how they can show that well, because this just felt like they're understanding equivalent fractions, but this wasn't super helpful. So there you go. That was math. In writing today, they started by getting a leaf to put on our mistake tree because we are throwing a Winn-Dixie party next Friday to celebrate the end of testing and the end of finishing our book because of Winn-Dixie. And when we do that, we kind of like try and tie in all of the parts of the party in because of Winn-Dixie. I think I've already talked about this, so I won't continue too much, but they've already made a mistake bottle talking about a mistake they made. And today we made leaves talking about things that they can grow on, things like areas of improvement that we all have on a leaf. And then they put that on their mistake tree, and it came out super cute and made our tree look a little less sad. So we did that, and then after they finished that, they needed to work on their introduction, their conclusion. Then they were to finish writing if they hadn't already finished writing. Then they needed to revise by adding specific details. Then they needed to edit. And then if they've done all of that, they needed to look through this editing checklist with a peer. And then if they did that, then they needed to do this opinion letter publishing checklist. And then if they did all of that, then they were pretty good to go and they're all basically published. I just need to look through it with them. So writing can be tricky in that way where everyone is at different spots. So I only have one kid who, like I said, is basically done publishing. I just need to check in with her and we need to just do a few extra details to like improve it. But as a whole, she's like done really well. And what I think I'm gonna do, since everyone is like, I don't know, the independence is not our strength right now, is I think I might try and have her kind of like be an assistant teacher a bit and help with some tips and tricks and stuff like that as they're typing as well after she's all done. So there you have it. That is what I have done. One other thing that I wanted to mention, sorry, I'm like getting super chatty with you all, but I have the time, so I feel like I might as well. Other thing that I've been doing lately we have been kind of like I mentioned in my last vlog, a little bit more not as patient with our peers, I guess I should say. So I just want to kind of make sure that we're being cognizant of that and building our best patience and continuing to hit on those social skills. So at the beginning of the school year, I feel like I'm really good at doing read alouds and referencing like growth mindset and persistence and all of that stuff, but you do get more into academics after like the first 6 weeks, and sometimes those conversations come up naturally, but they're not something that you might as intentionally plan. So I've been trying to more intentionally plan them lately. So today we read a book, I think it's like The Lion Inside, super cute, and we talked about how we need to sometimes be assertive and kind of put our voices out there and share how we're feeling and then help each other as well. And because my class is needing to talk about just being assertive, but also like being problem solvers. So that was good conversation. Okay, that's it. I'm going to go home now, and then I will pick you all up on Friday, and we will have a good Friday, and then it'll be the weekend. And here's the good thing. This is my week, the Teacher Appreciation Week. This weekend is my birthday and Mother's Day, so it's just so good. Okay, let's go home.
Before you, there was no sun. The light came only from the moon. Before you, I had no fun. The silence echoed in my room. So close, secure, completely pure.
Hello everyone, happy Friday. So I'm gonna talk real quick because I can hear the custodian next door and I'm sure she's gonna wanna be in here any second now. But today was a good day. It was a little crazy. We're definitely like blurting over Mrs. Leet a lot. So we will be talking about that and like some stories and social situations probably next week. But it was good as a whole. And like, to be honest, I get it. Like I want to talk to my friends. So I understand, but we just need to work on it a little bit. Reading today, we just worked on some like we did a reading jot on a lesson that they learned from Opal, and then they did word art with their word study words, and then they read to self. And then go time, I showed them the practice test for the main state test, and then they went on their computers and did part of the practice test. And I think that's good for them to just get familiar and kind of understand what the questions look like and what the tools are. Then in science, we finished our lesson on how our bodies and traits change when you are in space, and they liked that a lot. It was interesting, and they were really successful with it. Math, we talked about fractions greater than 1, so like how 8/4 is equivalent to 2 wholes. And they did pretty well with it, I'd say. It was definitely more of like conceptually tough, but once we like drew it on the board and looked at pictures of it, it was really, they were successful with it. And then we had guidance to end the day. So we had 2 specials today, so that made it a good day. And then after guidance, I told them as long as we had the classroom cleaned up, we could go outside for a quick 10 minutes because we had like 10 minutes extra when we don't have writing. So it was great. So great day all in all. I got some sweet flowers and gifts from my students for Teachers Appreciation Week, which I loved. We did a little bookmark for Mother's Day. I can't show it to you because it has like student faces on it, and they also all went home, but it was cute. It was just on Canva where they were like standing up and they were holding something, and I put like a flower stem in a circle, and then they drew flower, and then on the back and then at the bottom of it, it said Happy Mother's Day. So just like paint this picture in your brain. And then on the back they wrote, you know, Happy Mother's Day, I love you, because it was super sweet. So that gives you a whole picture of the day. I really had a great day again, really good week. Did I have some bumps along the way? Oh yes. I definitely had like one really tricky moment, but sometimes you just need to stop and kind of use self-talk. And that's what I did. Sorry to be vague, but you know. So that's it. That's what this week was. I'm going to end the vlog here because I need to go get my baby and we're going to go enjoy the weather outside. So I hope that you all have the best weekend. If you were a mother, I hope that you have a sweet, sweet Mother's Day where you are treated special and you are given all the love. And I so appreciate you watching. Please subscribe, hit that like button, and I will see you all in the next one.